Well, hello and howdy. What's up, Scott?
What's up, Cece? How we doing this fine Wednesday?
Oh, it's, been sunny. It's been raining. It's been sunny. It's been raining.
It's been an interesting day. Typical
It's,
Colorado weather, though. It keeps you on your toes. I love it. And I got these big windows in my apartment, so
I,
it's
you
just
know,
fun when I'm stuck in front of these monitors working all day that I get to look outside and see the cloud formations and whatnot, and it's a good time. I'm enjoying
Absolutely.
that rain, though, for sure.
Yes, yes. And our reservoirs and our lawns, if you have them. I know here at the house, I have a nice lush green lawn. So it's really enjoying all that moisture. That's for sure. But it's funny. I talked with a guy this morning over at the PHPA. I called into their
Mm-hmm.
office. I'm looking for an interview with Executive Director Larry Landon for the Calder Farmstead.
Okay.
Have him maybe elaborate why the PHPA was so adamantly against, as the statement they put out showed. I think I've got, hang on a second. Oh, good. Okay.
Are you referring to like the AHL playoffs?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. No, you're good.
I I got distracted because I recorded an episode of the Calder Farmstead through my computer mic instead of this mic. So of course the sound quality was suboptimal. So I wanted to make sure and check that I wasn't doing that again. Okay. So
You sound good on my side, so
good. Yeah.
good,
I'm
yeah.
glad to hear that. No, I went and checked and yeah, we're solid. But anyway, so I called up the PHPA, see if I could get Larry Landon's contact information, and talked with this guy Barron, and he's like, yeah, and we shot the breeze a little bit after I asked for his info, and he goes, well, how's the weather in Denver? Because they're based out of Ontario, Canada. I said, oh, up and down, up and down. He's like, yeah, I've got a few friends in Denver. They say that's pretty normal for Colorado. I'm like, oh yes, very normal for Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
So
all four seasons in a day, most days.
All 4 seasons in a day.
It's
yeah,
fun.
It is. I enjoy it here. So anyway, as we usually do our intro banter, I guess you could call it, this is episode number 17 of Front Range Hockey here on Full Press Coverage, Full Press Hockey, the Full Press Radio Network. And it's just kind of blowing by. The season's blowing by. The AHL season's almost over. Can you believe that?
Yeah, no, it's nuts. The season kind of flew by, and even like the NHL season. I mean, we got
sure.
even the Avs, like they have 5-6 games left, and there's a lot of teams out there with fewer before the playoffs start. And yeah, it's been a wild ride. It's been tough to get a break and balance a couple jobs. I know you're right there with me. With it seems like there's games every single night, whether it's the Eagles or the Avalanche, and
oh yeah.
It's been a whirlwind, but it's like I'd rather be busy than not busy, and I'd rather have hockey than not be able to watch hockey. So we're gonna be missing it for sure in the off season. So it's fun to kind of embrace this busyness. But yeah, hard to believe it's almost over. It's coming to an end.
Yeah, it's wrapping up, and thankfully, the NHL has their postseason, and like I kind of alluded to before I got distracted with my microphone situation, the AHL, there's only one division. I won't spoil it. We'll get to that here in a little bit, but we'll talk AHL postseason, even though it's very limited, coming up later in the program. But first things first, Scotty, Alex Newhook.
It's the news of the day.
Number 18 on the Colorado Avalanche, number 1 in your hearts. Big news of the day, making his NHL debut for the Colorado Avalanche tonight, Wednesday, May 5th, 2021. Happy Cinco de Mayo, Mr. Newhook. Oh my. After 8 games played, 5 goals in the AHL, 3 of them power play, 1 of them a game winner, 4 assists, and a 23.8% shooting percentage for the Colorado Eagles this season. Alex Newhook, like I said, he's making his debut tonight against the San Jose Sharks. And Avalanche family, Avs fan, #Avs fam, have collectively lost their damn minds.
Yeah, man, it's an exciting time to be an Avalanche fan. We've been alluding to it, for the last 2-3 weeks since he's got that call up and made his debut for the Eagles. And we might have talked about it last week. I didn't think it was going to happen this season. I didn't think they needed an Alex Newhook to step in, especially they've been winning. They got healthy again, and I was like, I don't see them rushing him into anything. But I figured at the same time, either way, by him signing that ELC a few weeks back, he's burning a year of his contract anyway. That's just what the rules state. This season, it's a weird season, shortened season. So them's the rules, I guess. So I mean, it makes sense. May as well. You have him called up. You have him available. Let's see what he can do. You're going to waste a year of his contract anyway. So may as well throw him in there. But yeah, I mean, it's been wild today. Everyone's super excited about it, and it was cool talking to him at media availability. He's obviously very excited. He was very smiley, and it's a kid realizing his dream. So it's hard not to live vicariously through him and smile with him, because it's a really cool moment to make it there. And the question was asked during the availability, it's like, dude, I mean, you played like 12 games for Boston College this year. You had a hell of a season. No one really expected you to turn pro, but you did. And you just took it by storm. You scored 5 goals and like 9 points in your first 8 pro games, and you don't look out of place at all. It seemed to be a seamless transition. You immediately were just one of the better forwards on the Eagles roster. And then 2 weeks later, you're now playing in your first NHL game. What's going through your head? And yeah, he's like, it's been a whirlwind. It's been a wild ride, and we'll see what he can bring. But I'm feeling really good about the kid. He looks good. I've seen all of his tape from, I was there at his debut with the Eagles, and then, I've been watching his games with the Eagles since then. And the dude's a stud. He's fast. He'll fit right in with this team. He's projected to be that second line center long-term for the Eagles. And for the Avalanche, sorry. And they're throwing him to the Wolves. They're putting him with the big guns. I think he's centering Nazem Kadri and Andre Burakovsky tonight, either on the second or the third line. And Bednar said he wanted to stick him with some skilled players, and that's certainly a good spot to be in. Playing with some veteran guys that know the ropes. I think he's gonna fit in super well on that line. And wouldn't be shocked if we saw him, score a goal tonight, or really play 15 minutes, somewhere in that range. And it's again, we say it all the time. It's an exciting time to be an Avs fan and to follow this team. And if you didn't think they were Stanley Cup contenders, before this, Alex Newhook's only gonna bolster that and provide that youth and that speed and that skill that the Avalanche already have. So it's a wealth of riches, I guess, and I'm excited to see what he can do here with the last few games and into the playoffs.
Yeah, I really think he's a big asset on the special teams as well. If the Avs so choose to put him on the second power play unit, I can't imagine.
Which they will. I think they said today that they're going to put him on the second power play, and he might even get some penalty kill as well. So
boom, son.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I mean, they're again throwing him to the Wolves. That's how much they believe in this kid. Is someone else asked during his media availability today. Most center prospects that play the center position, they get thrown on the wing, their rookie year to kind of ease them into things. And someone asked, it's like, hey man, usually you're either playing left wing, right wing. We know you have experience playing left wing. During his debut with the Eagles, he played left wing for a bit before, Coach Cronin moved him to center in the third period. And then I think he's been playing center there for the time being, but he's played both, at the collegiate level and with the Eagles a little bit too, but he's a natural center. And they're throwing him. He's centering 2 veteran guys in his first NHL game. He's not playing wing. They're skipping that step. They're skipping the easing him into, playing a few seconds on the power play a month into his debut or whatever. And he's playing second power play, which I'm sure he'll get a few opportunities tonight against, San Jose Sharks, who are a pretty penalized team. And again, he's playing, second line in his debut as centering guys that are much older than he is. And it's crazy. That just says, how much this organization believes in him, and just in the, obviously what they've seen in college when they drafted him, but, just in the 8 or 9 games he's played at the Eagles, they've seen, something special out of him, and I've seen something special out of him. So very excited to see what he can bring to this lineup. And I think it's going to be all good things. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that it's just a seamless transition for him to the NHL. He's not going to look lost out there. He's a very confident kid. He's going to try to make plays. He's not going to make the safe plays. I think he's going to go out there and kill it. So I'm excited to see that.
Wasn't there another rookie that kind of made his debut against the San Jose Sharks in a situation a couple years ago? Was it San Jose, I believe?
Are you talking about the playoffs?
Yes.
So I think it was Calgary. If you're referring to Cale Makar.
I am referring to Cale Makar, and it was Calgary. You're right. Because they played San Jose in the next round, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes. And then, they lost in Game 7 at the offsides call. And
that's it.
Actually, on that note, this is like super random, but I was listening to, I don't know if you listen to the Spit and Chicklets podcast.
Not very
guys
often.
From Barstool. It's like Paul Bissonnette, Ryan Whitney, and it's fun. They have a few Avs guys. Like, I don't really listen to it except for if there's, Avalanche players on it just to see what they're saying. And it's oftentimes it's off the cuff. They're, kind of letting it fly, and it's just former players and current players just kind of shooting the shit. Talking about the dark side of hockey, if you will. So it's kind of fun. And I think their most recent episode, they actually had Gabe Landeskog on. And the last question they asked him was like, tell me about that. Cause he was the one that was called offsides for the goal that would have won the game for the Avalanche in Game 7 against San Jose that would have pushed them to the conference finals. They called it off because he was offsides and he was, skating off the bench. Everyone knows we don't need to talk about it. Everyone hates that moment. But they asked him just kind of like poking fun. Like, so like, be honest with us. Like, what do you think about, that play? Like, I know everyone asks you, and he's like, yeah, it was bullshit. Like, we've done so much, research on it and so many different video angles. Like the whole team he has like professionals, that have like checked every single like angle and measurements and everything. And they're like, yeah, it was a blatant miss. And like, I don't want to talk shit about the league, but like they missed that one and they kind of screwed us out of the conference finals. But anyway, that was just a fun little side note. But yeah, it was Cale Makar. I think he made his debut and scored like on his like first shift, whatever it was. And we'll see if we can see something else, with the Alex Newhook.
I'm definitely getting Makar vibes here in regards to how quickly the Avs are like, okay, you're ready for this. He had first unit power play time with the Eagles. Like I said, he potted 3 power play goals with them. And if he does score, if he does take some shots tonight, I would say watch for one certain area, because he seems like maybe half, maybe more of his goals came from the left wing, the face-off circle. So like, just say you've got like a right angle from the face-off dot, like up top, right in between that at a 45-degree angle. That's where Alex Newhook likes to shoot, and that's where Alex Newhook likes to score. So that's his office right there on the left wing.
Yeah, no, he scores probably 60-75% of his goals from right there. Like, the dude's got a shot. He's got a quick release, and that's exciting. He's got the speed, and he's got, we've used it a few times before. It's tough to compare players to Nathan McKinnon, but when you look at this guy, he's like 19, like maybe just turned 20. He's got the legs, he's got the speed and the quickness, and he's got that competitive edge that you'll see out of a Nathan McKinnon, and he's got a hell of a release. It's just one of those things where you can't even tell it's coming. He just like, it looks like he's stick handling, and then all of a sudden like the puck's flying off his stick and it's going, top shelf. And yeah, it's like you said, there's that one area between the face-off dot and like the hash mark right there in the circle that he scores, probably 70-75% of his goals from there. Stemming back to college and pretty much all of his goals at the Eagles so far. And that's where you're gonna find him. So yeah, that's probably where he'll set up on the power play, right there in the middle. That's his position. And yeah, I mean, we'll see. I got a good feeling about him. I'm saying he's gonna score a goal tonight. I'm calling it. Okay.
For posterity, we had four or five viewers that were listening to that live. So
okay,
yes. So
record it. We're recording it. So
we're doing it live.
Timestamp. It's 5:56 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Wednesday. The Avalanche have not played yet.
Nope.
Alex Newhook is scoring in the second period.
Write that down. Down. So Scott Mcdonald on the record, live on YouTube for all to hear. You heard it here first. So yes, 7:30 Mountain. That's when the Avs and the Sharks will play. That's when the puck will drop. And that's when Alex Newhook will be taking his first game, his first shift. And you bet your ass he's going to be skating around. They'll let him do the lap. That's the rookie lap. That's always cool. I always enjoy that. So, well, let's talk a little bit about the Avalanche as a whole for a moment. I know we focused on Newhook, but
a lot of big news today. Yeah.
A lot of big news today. Yeah, absolutely. So, real quick, let me just recap the week as I'm ought to do. But let's see. Let's go back to April. Yeah, April 28th. So Wednesday, April 28th. I forget when we recorded. Did we record on Wednesday last time?
Yeah, we've been pretty on schedule the past couple weeks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, ever since you got back from vacation and everything. So yes, Golden Knights 5-2 victory over the Avs on Wednesday, April 28th. The Avalanche rebound, shutting out the Sharks 3-0 on Friday, April 30th. I believe Grubauer got that shutout, if I'm not mistaken. Avalanche 4-3 against the Sharks once again on Saturday, May 1st. And in overtime, the Avs 5-4 against the Sharks on Monday, May 3rd. The old 2 at home or 2 away. No, 2 at home, 2 away set for the Avs against the San Jose Sharks. So 4 games in a row. Yep. Pretty standard for this season anyway. So yeah. But yes, quite a newsworthy day for the Avalanche as a whole.
Yeah. A lot of injury news, over the last week.
Sure.
One, we found out today that Jake Mcdonald is back and healthy, and he's back in the lineup, which is, a huge boost to that Avalanche blue line that's been, just hit very, very hard recently, missing some key guys. And then, we found out Matt Calvert's, still gonna be out. And then, unfortunately, Logan O'Connor underwent surgery this past week, and he's, they didn't rule him out for the season, but it was kind of one of those like wink, wink. Yeah, where we're not going to see much of him. But he said, if they make a deep run, same thing with Eric Johnson. If the Avalanche make a deep run, that's kind of right in the timetable of when these guys might return from their injuries. But don't hold your breath, kind of thing is kind of the general consensus. So. Yeah, I mean, again, it's going to be huge for Alex Newhook. It seems like he could probably earn himself, a full-time spot on this roster for the rest of the year and into the playoffs if he earns it. And, it certainly seems like the Avalanche are setting him up for that. And they're giving him, every single chance to do that. And I fully expect him to take that. So it's exciting. And, we're starting to get to that point in the year where, guys are coming back from injury at just the right time. And, playoffs are, a week away, a little over a week away, 2 weeks away, maybe. That's nuts. So, it's a good time for the Avs to really be getting healthy and getting some young blood into the lineup and some talent back. So, it's going to be a fun end to the season. I think it's going to be a fun ride, and then Devin Dubnyk, COVID. So he's stuck in San Jose, I guess, quarantining in his old house in San Jose that he hasn't sold yet. So, and I guess he's going to have to, so I think it is COVID. It's not tracing, so he will be out for the full 14 days.
Okay.
Which puts him back a couple games after the last game of the season. And I guess at that point he's going to have to drive back to Denver or drive wherever to meet the team, because if he takes a commercial flight, then he has to quarantine for an additional week, which we found out from Coach Bednar last week or 2 weeks ago, which I don't think any of us media members knew about. So that was kind of a fun little tidbit. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's a rough time for him. It's cool that he gets to quarantine at his old place and, he's comfortable there, but it's going to be probably a few weeks before we see him. And until then, Jonas Johansson is your backup goaltender, and I think he played his first game with the Eagles on Saturday.
Yeah,
and I made a joke that didn't go over well with the Eagles social media and, Eagles fans in general, but yeah, he let in a goal on his first shot as an Eagle. So it's I made the joke. I was like, hey, it's just Jonas Johansson things. That's what he does. That's it's his bread and butter. He lets in the first goal of the game. And apparently I missed the memo that I was positivity night for the Eagles. And yeah, they added me and told me to put a positive twist on it. So I did. I was like, he's a decent goalie, but he's got to get that first one out of the way. It's like those pregame jitters or the nerves.
Yeah.
But he is your, Jonas Johansson's your backup goaltender for the next 3 weeks probably. So
yep.
Make of that what you will.
And Hunter Miska's on the taxi squad. You mentioned driving out. Hunter had to drive out to California on his own because, again, commercial flights, you've got that extra quarantine time and all that. So yeah, it's a fun little, just a fun little back and forth that's going on currently in the, in the goaltending room, I guess you could call it, for the Colorado Avalanche. So yeah. So hopefully, fingers crossed for, the Avalanche fans out there that Philip Grubauer doesn't, have to play too many games in a row to wind out the season. But to wrap it up here, sorry. let's look at the Honda West standings. We've got 3 of 4 teams that have qualified for the NHL playoffs here in 2021. The Golden Knights, of course, 74 points, 51 games played. The Avalanche in second place, nipping at their heels for that division crown, 72 points after 50 games played. Minnesota Wild, 70 points, also nipping at the heels there. Just, those 4 points, 2 points separating first, second, and third place in the Honda West division. The Wild have played 51 games. Then you got the Blues, big drop off with 55 points in 50 games played. And the Coyotes, 50 points in 53 games played. So I know we talked about Arizona maybe being a good matchup for the Avs in the postseason, but it may look like they're not even going to make the postseason. So
yeah. And it's going to be interesting, like everyone keeps talking about how the Avalanche is like, let's like fight for that, President's Trophy or fight for that number 1 spot. But it's like, hold up, wait a minute. Like, let's not get third place. Like it's
right?
Minnesota's just, on a tear and they're coming out of nowhere and they've had a hell of a season that I don't think, many people expected. And I mean, the Avs lose, a couple games down the stretch and all of a sudden they'll find themselves in third place and Minnesota will be fighting with Vegas. But there's some key matchups. I don't think the Avs play Minnesota again, but I think they got Vegas one more game. And obviously, like San Jose tonight, I think LA for the next couple. So it's going to be an interesting fight to the finish, but it's like, don't hold your breath on the number 1 spot. Let's, let's focus on, not being third. But I mean, it's looking more and more like it might be, a Colorado Minnesota series, which will be fun for a lot of people. And
sure,
very reminiscent of the 2014 season where, the Avs, that's what started the whole, Minnesota, Colorado hatred for each other was, there was a contentious opening round of the 2014 playoffs and the Avs blew it, lost in overtime in Game 7. And, fan bases hated them ever since. So it'll be a fun, rematch 7 years later or whatever. And I'm honestly kind of hoping that's what it is. I think Minnesota and Colorado would be a fun fight.
Yeah, that would be, yes, there would be a lot of vested interest with the fans and everything with that. I think, it would generate a lot of good storylines. As a journalist, I appreciate great storylines.
Yeah.
So that would generate a ton of good storylines for sure.
Yeah.
And also, to kind of wrap that up nice and neat with a little bow. Okay, so tonight Avs have the Sharks. We've said that. You said they play the Kings and they play the Golden Knights. So Avs, Kings, 7th and 8th of May in Los Angeles. They go to Vegas, play the Golden Knights for 1 game on that Monday, May 10th, and then they come back to Denver to play the Kings twice again. So they have the Los Angeles Kings 4 out of the 5 last games.
Which is pretty ideal. Like if you're trying to win that President's Trophy, you're trying to, win out for the rest of the year in these final 6 games here. Like Vegas is, going to be the most difficult challenge. I don't expect, much of a fight in San Jose. Although, I mean, they brought it to the Avalanche last game, but LA is not great. So, I mean, that's 4 very, winnable games right there, and got to win them all. Definitely got to beat Vegas if you want that trophy.
It's like Pokemon. You got to catch them all. It's just you got to win them all in this instance.
Exactly.
So maybe it's not like Pokemon at all. I'll just leave it alone. So.
I get what you're saying, though. I got you.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page. Sort of. Yes.
Yeah, that was my game back in the day. Big Pokemon guy. Had all the cards. Had a Game Boy Advance. That was fun. With the I think Pokemon Gold was my favorite for sure, and that's Silver too. Anyway,
I got Scott.
We're getting off topic again.
I've got Scott waxing nostalgic over here. So
those are good times. Simpler times.
Times. Yeah. No, I was the OG Pokemon generation. Like as soon as those cards hit when we were in middle school, it's like boom. Like it just blew up stateside.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it had already been established in Japan as Pocket Monsters, and it came over here as Pokemon, and just it was all over middle school.
Which I've been seeing some things trending. So I'm gonna stick on this Pokemon thing for a minute.
Okay.
And there's like some sort of shortage or something with Pokemon cards. I don't know if you've seen that.
I've heard about that.
On Twitter, and I've seen it. I've read some stories everywhere, but I haven't really gotten any detail on it or cared that much. But I'm just wondering what that's about. But anyway, just on the note of Pokemon, I thought I'd just insert that in there. And
well, I think it's because it's gaining popularity again. I think trading cards in general have gained popularity again. So, sports cards, I mean, NFTs are getting big, the non-fungible tokens, basically images online that you can purchase for, and it's ridiculous. And so, but, Yeah, I think it might have something to do with that.
Just says very high demand and global shipping constraints have impacted availability. But wow, crazy times we live in. Anyway, back to hockey. Let's let's get on that.
I mean, would it be a Front Range Hockey podcast episode if
without those tangents
have ridiculous random sidebars and tangents? Yeah. No, it isn't.
That's how we connect with the viewers. I'm hoping some of you guys out there, played Pokemon and can resonate with our struggles and our interests and things like that. So
I'll end it on this. I will end it on this. We were shopping for some 50-1, 40-1 oil for the lawnmower because, like I said, we have a very verdant, overgrown lawn here at our house, and somebody had left a stack of Pokemon cards there, just right on the shelf there in Walmart. It's like, what is happening? Why is this here? It's like right up there in the auto, the auto section of Walmart. It's like, okay,
they're probably trying to hide it and like go back for it because again, there's a shortage. So I'm sure they're taking them just like hiding them around the stores. I want to be honest, I used to do that kind of shit at like Walmart. Like I would, if there was like one thing, like or whatever I wanted, like a toy or something, and there's only like one thing left of it. It's like, all right, I'm taking this to like the candle aisle and I'm hiding it behind like a couple candles, and then I'm gonna go beg my mom to give me some money to buy it, and then I'm gonna go get it. So
I totally thought you were going to confess to theft here on the program. I'm like, what the hell?
I'm a much better person than that.
Okay, good.
Wink, wink.
That's good. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more. All right, let's go over to the AHL. Let's talk Colorado Eagles for a little bit. Okay, first and foremost, like I kind of mentioned at the top of the show, there is only one division out of the 5 this season hosting a postseason tournament in the AHL, in the American Hockey League, to determine a division champion. The sole division doing a playoff in 2021 is the Pacific Division.
Eagles. Yeah.
Yep. I called that. I'm like, yeah, I could see the Pacific Division. I can see the Central Division. I know Patrick Williams, the AHL guy on Twitter and pretty much everywhere else. He said, yeah, there's a division, maybe 2 that are going to do a postseason. I'm like, oh, I can totally see the Pacific Division.
Pacific definitely has, their shit largely together, for the most part. And, all the teams are close. It's the proximity thing. Like Canada, we knew that wasn't going to happen. And, whatever the division is that has like only a handful of teams. Yeah, it's a whole thing. So yeah, I didn't think they're going to do any. I thought it would just be like fair to, not do any playoffs, which, I get the arguments both ways that, obviously the AHL is excited to be able to, host a playoffs. And I'm sure like, damn well that Joe Sakic and the Avalanche front office staff and, those guys are stoked that their players will get to play for another, 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever it might be. And Bednar said the same thing. He's like, selfishly, like, we're not too mad about it. Someone asked him about, the debate that's going on, whether it's safe for the players to continue and whatnot. And he's like, yeah, I mean, I get the argument, but also like selfishly as a team, as an organization, like we're kind of pumped about, our players getting to play more games because, every game they play is, just more development time. So yes, Dursuki, it is great AHL news for some people. And I mean, it'll be interesting to see, how this like fight kind of how it pans out. If they do end up just scrapping the whole thing, or
we've got the Pro Hockey Players Association a little bit up in arms, and I want to read the whole statement in full because it's quite, Larry Landon, the guy I mentioned, we want to have him on the Calder Farmstead because we want to bend his ear. We want to be like, okay, what the hell happened to where the PHPA and the AHL are not on the same page in regards to a lack of a postseason? So I have it pulled up here. Here's a statement from the PHPA and Executive Director Larry Landon. The American Hockey League has decided to schedule additional games for Pacific Division teams beyond May 16th, the final day of the regular season. I'm disappointed in the AHL's Pacific Division's decision as it disregards the wishes of the vast majority of the players within the Pacific Division. These concerns were communicated to the league on several occasions. COVID-19 remains an uncontrolled and prominent health issue in the United States and Canada. The safety and well-being of the players is paramount. All players have endured undue stress and anxiety and significant financial hardships while abiding by strict health and safety protocols in the midst of a global pandemic. The Pacific Division chose to ignore the spirit of cooperation that has existed between the PHPA and the AHL for many years and decided to proceed with additional games anyway. There's a genuine inability to ensure the health and safety of players in the Pacific Division. Well, sorry, the safety of players and the Pacific Division will not recognize what other teams have already recognized. The PHPA and its members are truly discouraged that the Pacific Division players' well-being will continue to be in jeopardy, end quote. Pretty strong words from the PHPA and Larry Landon. And Scott, if I may chime in for a moment, I will say this. Robin Lehner, goaltender for the Vegas Golden Knights, his struggles with mental health have been very have been publicized. They've been very publicized, and he's been forthcoming with it in regards to, those struggles. And he basically chastised the NHL during a press conference. And I think we brought this up once before, but these players are going through probably the most unique situation in their lives. And they are supposed to be quarantining. They are supposed to basically isolate themselves. And they've, just like the statement read, they've put themselves through financial hardship. They've put themselves through, probably mental health and social hardship. And it's a very difficult situation. And like you said, Scott, I can see the other side of the coin where, Joe Sakic and all the other Pacific Division teams are like, and the NHL clubs are like, great, our AHL guys will keep going for the postseason. Maybe we can call a guy or two in the playoffs. And I see that side of it, but I also see the side that the PHPA is also talking about. But I am baffled at the fact that, the Pacific Division teams, however many are going to play for the Pacific Division crown and the Pacific Division title. I am baffled at that these two could not get on the same page in regards to this, and that there is such a big disconnect that the PHPA had to put out this statement basically disowning and disregarding the decision. Well, maybe not disregarding because the players are going to play. I mean, you'd imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But see, that'll be like the interesting thing too. It's like, statements are powerful, by larger conglomerates like the NHLPA or the PHPA in the case of the AHL. But I want to hear, if players really do feel that way and not just the organization that represents them. I want to see, a player or two step up and on social media or say something, about not wanting to play and kind of backing up, their word, kind of like, you said, like a Robin Lehner did. So that'll be interesting to see if, anyone does step up, because to me, the way I see it, it's like, obviously this is their job and it's their passion and they want to play hockey. And especially how short this year was and how they essentially AHL players took an entire year off. I'd be pretty stoked to extend the season, by even, a couple extra weeks or just get any sort of game action you can. Like, they have fun doing this. But if there really are some players out there that, maybe they're not comfortable and like they really are suffering financially or, mental health is taking a toll and they're just not having a good time, then I fully support that and I understand it. But, I want to see someone, come out and say something. And right now, no one's come out in support other than just, the PHPA and the Rangers too. Yeah, for sure. The PHPA, it's like, it's their job to kind of release statements like that. But, it just like the NHLPA, there's a couple of heads that, represent the larger whole. So I'm not really sure, who the player representatives are. And if they're, necessarily speaking for, the entirety of a division. I doubt they are. There might be a couple people that have come out and said something, but again, it's like, then sit out. Like if you guys are really, really serious about, not wanting to play, then you don't have to play. Like you can sit out. And so I'll be interested to see if anyone does that or if anyone comes out on social media or whatever it might be and makes a statement about not wanting to play. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. It's a unique season and the rules are very probably as flexible as they've ever been. So you would imagine that if players don't want to play, then the league will give them the option not to, or who knows, maybe the postseason in these, a week and a half until the regular season's over for the AHL, or at least for the Pacific Division, rather. Maybe there's an audible call and maybe the postseason isn't available, but we'll see. I mean, that's a whole can of worms that we probably don't have time to go into. And maybe we spend a little too much time on it right now, but it's an important topic news. And we wanted to cover it. It is big news and it's the Pacific Division where the Eagles are at. And, let's talk about the on ice product a little bit for the Colorado Eagles. They played Ontario Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, your typical 3-game set for, well, pretty much any game that the Eagles are going to play at home. I've noticed Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, maybe a Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday here and there, but not the results that they were looking for. The Eagles getting swept by the Ontario Reign, losing Wednesday, losing Friday, and losing Saturday, unfortunately. You know, watching these games, Scott, the defense did not do them any favors. They couldn't get on these goals anyway. I mean, it felt like the errors were so egregious, like the passing lanes, they weren't getting sticks in the passing lanes on these goals. It's like when they flubbed up big time. Like it was a team flub up. It wasn't just one guy missing an assignment. It felt like every guy. And unfortunately, I hate to throw him under the bus, but there was a couple goals that specifically Dan Renouf looked lost out there, and he blew his defensive assignment, and it blew up, and the puck was in the back of the net. And like I said, with you know, getting called up to the Avalanche and everything, and you hate to see that at the AHL level. Just you hate to see that lapse of defensive assignment. And everything.
I will say, I mean, he didn't get great, you know, grades or reviews or marks or whatever you want to call it. And you know, his one game call up, I think, to the Avalanche, he might have played more than that, but. You know, I was there at the game, you know, Saturday at Ball Arena, and it was a tough night for him. It's like like you said, kind of was blowing some assignments there, and you know, he's one of those guys that likes to take the body, and you know, not a guy that jumps up on the rush or anything, but you know, maybe he took the body a little bit too much and let some guys backdoor, and you know, that'll cause you some issues. So he's just my only like tick against him is he's got to be a little more aware in the defensive zone. Like if you are going to go try to blow that guy up, like look behind you and make sure, you know, your D partner, which I want to say was like Patrick Nemeth for a good majority of the game. Okay. You got to make sure he's there. And also Patrick Nemeth is not really having a great comeback with the Avalanche either. And has not gotten great reviews from, you know, the coaching staff or, you know, fans on Twitter, whatever it might be, armchair GMs, myself included. Like, I mean,
fair.
Yeah, he hasn't played great. So hopefully he kind of settles down. And he admitted, I asked him about it after the game on Saturday, and he kind of admitted that he's been having, you know, some issues, you know, shaking off the rust and, you know, trying to get back used to the system that the Avalanche play under. But, you know, that was kind of the whole reason why Joe Sakic made that trade is the familiarity with the systems. And he's a guy that doesn't need to, you know, review the tape or learn about our defensive coverage and all that kind of stuff because he was there for 2 years and he knows everything about it and was there pretty recently. But, you know, he even admitted, he's like, I need to watch some more tape. Like there is some rust there. Like I'm not as familiar with the system as I thought I was. And it's pretty obvious out there. Like he hasn't been playing that great, and it's kind of been more of a liability than he has been, you know, a good defender for much of the time. But I mean, again, it's just like he said, it's about shaking off that rust, and I fully expect him to, and I'm sure he will. And hopefully, you know, that happens before the postseason begins, and because they're gonna need him.
Yes. Yep. Back to the Eagles. Those 3 games, you had 3 different goaltenders. You had Hunter Miska start the game on Wednesday, 30 saves on 33 shots on goal in a 3-2 loss. Then you had Adam Werner in net on Friday. Oddly enough, the same stat line, 30 saves on 33 shots on goal. Kind of weird, but 4-1 loss on that. Of course, the Eagles letting in an empty netter there at the end. That's why Werner only had 3 goals allowed. And then last but not least, or maybe at least in this segment, last but least, Jonas Johansson allowed 21 saves on 26 shots on goal. He allowed 5 goals. So yeah, not a good set, getting swept by the Ontario Reign, not only on the weekend, but on that Wednesday game to they get that 3-game sweep for the Reign. So putting that behind us, moving ahead to what is now. And by now, I mean, literally, it's coming up right now. Another double whammy for Colorado hockey fans tonight. Eagles take on Bakersfield down in California this evening, Cinco de Mayo, 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Mountain. A little less than 40 minutes if you're listening to us live. So Eagles got Baco again on Friday, and then they head to El Segundo, California, where the Ontario Reign are calling home this season. Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Mountain. So then the Eagles host the San Diego Gulls to wrap up the season, 3 games, and that'll be it for the regular season. But we'll see what the postseason format is like from there, because when the AHL announced that they were having a postseason in the Pacific Division, they said the format is to be determined. So we'll see what that looks like if it happens at all.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick before we go to asking the feed and get some questions from the fans, let's talk collegiate transfers. Denver, unfortunately, losing another player to the transfer portal, defenseman Slava Demin. He heads to UMass yesterday, May 4th. And can you blame the guy?
Yeah, and we were kind of just talking about that, before we clicked record on this podcast here. It's that's another big loss, another good defender for DU, and like you said, you can't really blame him. DU had a very down year, and UMass just won a national championship. So, a lot of the transfers that we've seen from Denver, which has been quite a few, more than average probably, have been going to probably, arguably better schools than the current situation Denver is. And, like we talked about before we started recording this, that's just the unfortunate reality of college athletics, whether it's hockey or football or basketball. As soon as guys start leaving, it's kind of written in the stars, and, the writing's on the wall, whatever you want to say, that the team's probably going to have a down year next year. So let's jump ship. And, these guys only have a certain amount of eligibility and a certain, time frame of years that they're allowed to play. So you want to take advantage of every single opportunity you have. So they, inevitably transfer to, better schools. And I'm a little nervous for what DU is gonna be able to produce on ice, next year. They've lost a lot of leadership. They've lost all their captains, and they've lost a lot of key contributors. It's going to be a very young team, a very inexperienced team. I don't think they got any transfers yet. It's just all been, people transferring out of the system. So it's going to be a rough year, I think, for them next year, and we'll see what happens. CC, you want to?
I'm raising my finger. Sorry about that. I was on mute because I'm my keyboard. It sounds like I'm smashing, the little bubble wrap when I'm typing on the keyboard. So I mute myself. But no, I was excited because you mentioned, you're like, I don't think anybody's transferred in. There was something that slipped through the cracks.
Oh.
Forward Cameron Wright is joining Denver from Bowling Green. That was something on April 24th. He transferred over from Bowling Green. And Bowling Green actually kind of more of a goaltending school. You see a lot of, you hear of certain goaltenders. I'm thinking Thomas Scholl with the Texas Stars of the AHL, of course, because I covered him in Idaho. But there's been a number of other goaltenders that have come from Bowling Green. But anyway, long and short of it, Cameron Wright coming from Bowling Green, transferring to Denver. 13 goals and 16 assists in 29 points in 31 games played last season. So obviously Bowling Green, the NCHC is a lot more of a competitive conference. So we'll see if those numbers will transfer over. I'm going to say maybe they take a little bit of a dip because the competitive edge in the NCHC is probably a little bit higher than where Bowling Green plays. And I'm forgetting which collegiate division that they play in. But Cameron Wright is joining Denver University.
Okay,
so,
well, there's something, I guess.
There's that. And again, another guy that's joining DU, or at least it says so on paper that he committed to DU on April 20th. He's showing some promise at the U18 World Junior Championships there in Texas. Salmonen, who committed to play at DU, has been doing pretty well. 5 goals and 2 assists for 7 points in 5 games played on the international stage there. So not too shabby for the Finn that maybe will be joining DU. I read somewhere that he also may join in 2022, but yeah, there were some conflicting reports I was a little confused about, but that there's some more, I guess that may be some more good news that,
they need whatever they can get. So we'll leave it at that. They've lost a lot of good players.
They really do. Yes. And something that also fell through the cracks will shift over to Colorado College for a second, but Noah Prokop from Omaha is coming to Colorado College. And that was news that broke on April 20th. Again, it kind of slipped through the cracks. We were following other stuff and everything, but yes. So that happened as well. And Air Force is actually, unfortunately, losing a number of players to the transfer portal. You got Keenan Lund. He's a forward that is currently in the transfer portal, but he's not committed anywhere at the time. Thomas Dacus, same thing. in the transfer portal, but hasn't landed anywhere. And last but not least, Noah Kim is also in the transfer portal, but no destination selected for him either. So there's that. Just transfer portal news, unfortunately, for the collegiate ranks right now, because we got to get to our favorite segment. We gotta talk to the people. We got to ask the fans and ask the feed, the social media feed. It's what we do. Scott, I see you looking at your phone. Do you got some news for us?
No, I don't. Sorry. I was just responding to some Twitters. Yeah. Breaking news. No. It's been a while since we've had that. That's kind of like our shtick here at Front Range Hockey. It's like literally as soon as we're wrapping up, like I usually get some texts or some news breaks on social media. Right. That's big, and then we can't necessarily talk about it because we're already like over an hour, and it's a whole thing. But it's been a while since that happened. So
it's been a while since Scott could say there's breaking news. Yeah,
that worked. Nice, well done, well done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, let's ask the feed. And of course, we've got some Newhook questions. We've actually got 2 Newhook questions, so we'll kind of meld them together. And let's see here. First and foremost, I'll say the first question and the second question. Of course, Scott, you can answer after that. Teddy, friend of the program, at TJ Tracy 92. On a whole, how well do you think Newhook will perform today? And that piggybacks off of Proud American _CO at CO Proud American on the Twitters, who also asks, what is your realistic prediction for Alex Newhook? Does he stay on the roster through the regular season? Playoffs? How successful will he be if he does stick around? So 2 related questions contingent on how Alex Newhook will perform not only tonight, but will he stay with the active roster through the regular season and the postseason?
Yeah, well, I mean, we touched on how I think he's going to do tonight. I'm predicting he scores a goal. I think he's going to fit in just fine with this roster from what I've seen, at the AHL level. And the biggest thing for me is the kid just, exudes confidence. Like it doesn't ever seem nervous at all. Like he didn't really say he was nervous today during the his like intro press conference. Like everyone's like, congrats, like you're starting or whatever. He's like, yeah, not a big deal. Like, I'll just take it like I do every, when I made the jump to the college level, that was hard, but I adapted. Then I made the jump to the Eagles, and like that was easier than I thought. And and then it's like, yeah, obviously it's going to be a jump to the NHL, but like I'm ready for it. It's like, dude, I love this kid. Like he's very confident, and that's huge. Especially for being a young guy, and it's just huge in general in sports and across all life. The more confident you are, the better you perform at whatever it is that your job is. So. I'm feeling good about him. I think he's going to do just fine. And to answer that second question, I think a realistic prediction, I think he's a guy that's, could stay. He's a candidate to make this team, especially with, a guy like Logan O'Connor being out long term. And, there's a spot open right now. Like it was between him and Kiefer Sherwood. And I think, I'll say 100% of Avs fans would rather have, Alex Newhook than Kiefer Sherwood. And obviously it depends on performance and depends what the coaching staff wants and what they see out of him. But, I think they're going to like what they see. And I could see him, sticking with the team for the rest of the season and going along for the ride. I don't know how successful he's going to be. That's a tough question. But I think he'll do just fine.
I mean, You've heard him multiple times say it on the program. Scott says, hey, he's going to score a goal. So you heard it here first. We're about an hour away from puck drop, actually 59 minutes. So close enough. But yeah, thank you.
That's about an hour.
Yeah, about an hour. Sure. Why not?
That's pretty damn close.
It is pretty damn close. So I'm not going to nitpick because I'm a little OCD and I'm not going to do that. So anyway, moving on. Moving on. Thank you for the questions. We appreciate it. And so the next question, AHL question here today. Let me read that again. AHL question today, since all the focus is on Newhook. With all the notables up with the Avalanche, how well do you think the Eagles will fare tonight on their last road game of the season against the Condors? So if I may, Scott, since this is
I was going to say, please take this one. Yeah, that's all you, man.
The Eagles, I don't think they've lost 3 games in a row all season. If they have, it may have only happened one other time and probably earlier in the season. I'd have to take a look at the AHL schedule, and I'll do that while I'm talking here. But so it's tough because, the Eagles have adapted. I think every AHL team, needs to needs to adapt, especially in a season like this where guys are getting called up to the taxi squad and getting shuffled back and forth to stay fresh and to get some games under their belt. But Bakersfield has also lost some of their key players as well. You know, that top scoring line with Cooper Marody and, you know, Sean calls it the youth line, the Utes on Bakersfield, because they're young, they're producing, they're top in the league in scoring. And so, yeah, it's just a matter of, I think, which team is adapting better. And looking here at the Eagles schedule, yeah, they have not lost 3 games in a row all season until this series against Ontario. So long-winded answer to Durf Zuki's question, who actually put his name on his Twitter handle, Fred J. So Fred, I don't have to call you Durf anymore.
Fred. Pleasure to meet you, Fred. He's definitely one of our biggest supporters. Absolutely. He's always watching live and is interacting with us, so we appreciate you, Fred. And
yes, we do, and we don't have to call you Durf anymore. So
I kind of liked it, but
I did too. So
you got to let us know in the comments if you're still listening, Fred or Durf. We'll go with either one,
or maybe
Fred.
What?
It makes sense. So Durf is just Fred spelled backwards, right?
Oh,
boom.
Now I feel
Fred, I got you figured out, man.
Now I feel like a Durf. I tell you, man. Oh my goodness. Durf. Wow. Durf Zuki. Fred backwards. You got it. See, I'm
nice.
apparently a little dense right now. So
it's all right.
He says, haha, yeah. Durf is Fred backwards.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Boy, do I feel foolish. Oh, anyway, thank you, Fred. Thank you, Durf, for the question. As always, I'm going to pick Bakersfield tonight to answer it. Not Bakersfield. I'm going to pick Colorado over Bakersfield tonight. I think they break out of it. I'm all over the place. The Fred Durf thing just blew my mind. So
right.
I got to.
It's always right around now, the 50-minute mark where it's shit's off the rails.
Where the wheels start falling off. Yeah,
flying off the seat of our pants. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Colorado Eagles defeat the Bakersfield Condors. I think it's a 1-goal game though, so it's going to be close. But the Eagles will win over there in Baco, California. So. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Durf. We appreciate it. Next question, second to last. Karen Sherritt at Karen Sherritt 4, another big fan of the program. Thank you for your questions. Your predictions on the win-loss ratio for these remaining games. Will the Avalanche get home ice? Great question, Karen.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, we kind of touched on it at the beginning of the call. It's all right,
sorry.
Cool.
He said either way is fine with me. Yeah, sorry, I distracted Scott with a little.
No, I love the interactions.
So, yes.
Yeah. To answer your question, Karen, it's a tough question. I think they're at a favorable spot. Like we said, they're playing the LA Kings 4 out of the next 6 games, or after tonight it'll be 4 out of the next 5 games.
Right.
Vegas is really the only challenging game left on the slate. So I think if they can win 4 out of those 6, and obviously beat Vegas. They have a good chance of home ice advantage. They have a good chance of winning that number 1 spot in the division. And but I think even if, maybe if they even go 3-3, that's going to be tough. I think, 4 is probably the magic number to win that division at least. And then obviously you have to beat Vegas, or else I don't think it's happening. So I'm going to say they go 4-2 down the stretch. I'm going to say they lose to Vegas. I think they win tonight against San Jose. And they beat 3 out of 4 LA. But I think LA gets 1. LA's always been tough for the Avalanche for whatever reason. It's always like a very low scoring game. It's always a 1-goal game, so it's kind of an interesting matchup, but it's been a while since they played each other, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm going to give LA at least one of those 4 games, and I think they go 4-2 down the stretch and maybe win the division, but again, if they lose to Vegas, it's going to be tough. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to say with Grubauer, kind of taking on the major goaltending load, the net minding load there, and Dubnyk out for, COVID protocols for a week or week and a half. I don't know where he's at currently, but I'm going to say the Avs go 3-3. I'm going to say they drop 2 games to LA, and then they drop that game to Vegas. I'm going to say they go 2-4. I'm going to say they split the home and home 2 first. So they lose a game in LA and they lose a game here in Denver. So So that's my prediction. They go 3-3. I'm going to say they finish in second. They're going to finish second in the division because I don't think, well, it feels right. I don't know what Minnesota and Vegas are going to do. Of course, there's a lot of moving parts, but I'm going to say the Avs finish second in the division, and they're going to play Minnesota in that first round matchup, and it's going to be a hell of a time. It'll be great. So
we'll go
with that. Can't wait. All right. Last but not least, we have a question from Gil Manklang at Gil_Manklang. Of course, the hard hitting questions. No, we really appreciate
I love them.
Yeah, I love them too. Yeah. And I joke around about being a hard hitting question, but it's nice to have these fun questions. So don't get me wrong, Gil. I'm not mocking it in any way, shape, or form. I'm just being silly because, as you've probably known, I'm kind of a silly guy sometimes. But anyway, so Gil, thank you for this question. It is, which is the better superhero? If I could read the question correctly, which is the better superhero, Batman or Superman? Scott, you first, my friend.
Neither, Gil. It's Spider-Man. It's the only right answer.
Wow. Yeah, wow. Going off the grid.
Yeah. No, it's always been my favorite superhero and always will be. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It just resonated with him. And, I wanted to be Spider-Man, fucking doing these like all day. And I was Spider-Man for a few.
Go, Web, go.
One of the best scenes ever.
Go.
See, the tough question is, who's the best Spider-Man? Obviously, the original Peter Parker, whatever his name. Now I'm forgetting his name, but
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, yeah. I was always a big I liked Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man too, though.
I did too.
So it's a toss up between those two. But yeah, I would say Spider-Man. Going off the grid, like you said, and I don't know, just always liked him. But if I had to pick between the two, I'd probably pick Batman. I think Superman's overrated. I think he's which is funny because I dressed up as Superman for this last Halloween. So, but that's only because it was, as I always do. It's last minute, I always go shopping for a Halloween costume on October 30th, the day before or the day of. Sure. And all that's left are child size costumes. So I have to do something with that. And the only thing left in my size was, some Superman stuff. So I was Superman, but not, not because I wanted to.
You got the muscles for it, so it works out. So thanks, there you go. Well, I know you work.
I mean, not nearly as big, but yeah.
Yeah, you're in better shape than I am, that's for sure. But I'm gonna say Superman because Batman. I mean, as well trained and as great of a detective that he is, I think he's, he is a great. Don't get me wrong. He's still a superhero. It kind of reminds me, gives me some Iron Man vibes in the sense that he doesn't actually have superpowers, but his mind is a superpower, I suppose. So with that said, Superman, he is supernaturally endowed with the X-ray vision, with the heat breath and all the things that come along with Superman. And I'm going to go with Superman. I like Batman and the movies and everything, but in regards to the question, which is the better superhero? I'm going to say Superman. If he can fly around the world and turn back time, that's a pretty amazing super ability. It is. Yeah. It's pretty damn cool. But I do love me some Batman. I will say that, and I'll leave it at that. So I believe that's all the questions we have, Scotty.
Cool. Yeah, that is it.
Cool.
Those are fun ones.
Those were fun ones. So thank you guys for contributing and always appreciate the questions. Hey, we haven't had an episode where we've had no contribution and no questions. It's been we have been blessed with a bounty of social interaction from the fans of the program, the fans of the Avs and the Eagles. And thank you. We appreciate that.
We're hitting our stride here in episode 17. And hopefully it's all, downhill from here, uphill from here. What's the saying? I always fuck it up. I really do. It's
it's all downhill from here. It kind of has a negative connotation to it.
Right, but it's easier, right? I think that's
the whole point. I would say it's smooth sailing from here.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah.
It only gets better is what I'm trying to say.
It does. It really does. Yeah. And we're going to take the mountain out of it. We're going to take the ascending,
like a lot of work.
Analogy. Yeah. We're just going to move on to the ocean and be smooth sailing. There we go.
I like that better.
All right. Well, that is it for episode number 17 of the Front Range Hockey Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to follow our show on pretty well any major podcast platform. Google, Apple, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. Give us a follow on YouTube. You can like my channel. It's on the CC Hawkley channel. I don't have a specific Front Range Hockey channel on YouTube. It's just my personal CC Hawkley YouTube account. So give me a like, comment, subscribe so you can watch these live. Or like I said, check us out. If you want to go back and listen to the audio on any podcast platform, please give our Twitter account a follow. I totally forgot to to cue the ticker below, but there it is. Better late than never.
All right. Well,
I'm so bad about it. I'm so bad. I'm so sorry. You can follow us on Twitter as the ticker shows, or
hopefully you guys watched all the way through. No?
Don't judge me. Don't look at me. I have shame. I am for shamed. Oh, at Front RNG Hockey is where you can follow us on Twitter. Scott, where can people find your work? I'm going to go crawl in a hole.
Okay. Well, you can find me at offscottfree on Twitter. That's at 0FF Scott Free. Posting there every damn day. And I, probably 3 to 4 times a week posting over at ColoradoHockeyNow.com, alongside Adrian Dater. And, we try to bring you the very best content, and biasly, I think we do. We provide the best content, and we post every single day, and, no other Avalanche media outlet can say that. So we're pretty proud of that. And, it's a great deal. So come give us a follow over there. Come check out our stuff, and then follow me on Twitter, interact with me, DM me, at me.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and I'm CC Hawkley, and you can find me, my written work rather, at Full Press Hockey. That's www.fullpresshockey.com. And you can check out this and a ton of other great hockey podcasts, plus other great sports and sports entertainment pods on the Full Press Radio Network at www.fullpresscoverage.com. And there's a neat little drop down menu. You click on it, podcast. Brrr, it's all there. Brrr, there we go. I was trying to get the brrr noise down, so I had to roll the tongue. So, yeah, that's it for episode number 17. For Scott Mcdonald, I'm Cece. And guys, gals, non-binary pals, thanks once again for listening. And, of course, stay colorful, my friends. We will see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.